Cat's Diamond Painting. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've joined me here before. I'm here today to quickly run through with you my system for storing my spare drills. And by that I mean the drills that I have left over when I finished a kit that I want to keep hold of. So before I go any further, I want to put on a big caveat that this system is nothing fancy and it is far from revolutionary, and some of this might even seem obvious, but it's what works for me. If you already store your spare drills and you've got a great system that works for you, I'm not saying that you're necessarily going to learn anything new here. The main reason I thought this would be useful to show you is that sometimes people don't know how to go about starting a spare drill storage, like how are they going to sort it, and it feels a bit daunting. And the way that I currently do it is cheap. It's basic. It uses items that you will find around the house for the most part, or things you can pick up very cheaply. So if you're just starting out on keeping your spare drills, this is an inexpensive way to do it with things that you probably already have, whilst keeping yourself organised. I intend at some point in the future to do something a bit more sophisticated, to get myself some nice boxes and have them all organised in there. But to be honest, the more time goes on, the more spare drills I accumulate, the more I wonder if it's ever going to be worth it to me. Anyway, that's by the by. So why save spare drills? Because not everyone does, and there's no reason why you should do it if you don't want to. Most companies are very happy to send over extra drills if you run out, if you have any mishaps, if you just don't have enough because maybe there were a few too many issues with trash for whatever reason. I do it for two reasons. One, avoiding waste. I don't like throwing things away if I don't have to. But two, more importantly, impatience. Most of the companies that I buy spare drills from are based in the US, and whilst they come with things like insurance for replacing the drills, so I know that they will send me more if I need them, if I'm working on a painting and I'm going to be leaving a gap because I've run out of drills, I don't necessarily want to have to wait a couple of weeks to get a hold of those drills. It's also really nice to sometimes be able to help out other people. Quite often someone else will run out and maybe it's a kit that they've picked up in a de-stash site or something like that. So it's harder for them to actually get hold of drills. So I've been able to help friends out a few times. So what will you need? This is all there is to my system. So some small Ziploc baggies. I have here some that came with a Diamond Art Club kit, because a lot of companies do include baggies in their toolkits. I also frequently buy some if I need them. I can usually get a pack of about 300 on Amazon for maybe £5 or £6, so very cheap and easy. You will need labels for those bags, or a Sharpie that you can just write directly on the bags, just some way to label the bags so you know what's in them. You can also buy ready-made labels from Etsy with the colours and everything on them. I have bought some of those recently and showed them in a small shop showcase, and I've started to use those for my newest drills that I'm just starting to build a collection on, which you'll see in a bit, but a lot of them I still use these. You will need freezer bags, so something with a Ziploc works really well, just for keeping everything secure. You'll need a large one and a small one, because what we're going to be doing is building collections of spare drills within these that then get contained within these. Again, I will explain more in a bit. You will need a computer with Excel, which I have mine here, or if you don't have that, because I know this is the biggest one that people might not have, there is a workaround for that. You can get something like a printable logbook that includes a breakdown of all the DMC colours in it. I'll show you that again in a bit, what I would suggest there. And ideally, it's quite helpful if you pick up a DMC colour chart. I got this right at the start of diamond painting. It's actually got some logbook features in the back, which I've never used. It cost me £4 or £5, and I have this now for everything. And it gives me all of the names for all of the DMC codes, which I find helpful. Again, I will explain why in a bit. So let me get these to the side and show you what I'm dealing with here. Here is a lot of my spare drill collection. And it looks really organised, doesn't it? Not. It looks like a big mess. But I promise you that I know what everything is in these and how to find it. And it's much more straightforward and organised than it looks. The reason that my system works, despite how basic it is that I break up my stash of spare drills into smaller chunks so they're easy to find. And then I keep careful records of what I have. This is where Excel comes in. If I'm looking through one of these bags for drills, it's because I know they're already in there, so it won't be fruitless. So let me just show you quickly what I mean, which is a good example. This is one that I've just started for DAC squares with 20 facet drills. And you can see in there, I've got 4 smaller bags, which are all labelled with a particular range of DMC codes. So if I'm putting away DMC 300, it's going to go in this one. If I'm putting away DMC 741, it's going in this one, and so on. So it breaks it down. I'll explain a bit more how I break it down in a bit. Before I go any further, if you don't have Excel or the MacBook equivalent, what's that called? Sheets or something maybe? I'm going to show you what I would recommend that you use as a next best thing. I had a small shop showcase recently where I showed you the logbook that I have from Diamond Painting Nerd over on Etsy. She also has a YouTube channel by the same name. And in here, right at the start, she provides a spare drill log. Now, there are other logbooks out there. You may already have a logbook that has something like this. Whatever works for you. This is just one that I know that has exactly what you would need. So this breaks everything down by every DMC code. There's a picture colour to match with it. And then a column for rounds, a column for squares. And it goes through all of the colours like that. And at the end there is space for things like AB drills that won't fit within the standard DMC codes. This logbook is a printable one, so you buy it off her on Etsy, and then you have the printable logbook, so you can print pages as many as you want, as many times as you want. So if you want to break it down by different companies' drills, maybe different phases of drills within that company, all the things that I'm doing here that I'm going to show you, then you can just print off separate pages. So that is what I would recommend if you don't have a computer with Excel or something equivalent. I will mostly be talking about my system on Excel though, because that's what I use, but I think it's relatively straightforward to see how this would work as an alternative. So I break my spare drill storage down as much as I can. So what I mean by that is I don't just have, say, DMC 550 square and I have a bag of those, and any 550s that I get I bung in there. I break it down by company. So I have, I obviously have Diamond Art Club ones, I'll have Diamond Art Studio ones when I finish the kit that I'm working on currently, Dreamer Designs, all the different companies that I buy from, I keep their drills separate. And then within companies like Diamond Art Club, who've gone through several generations of drill evolution, I keep those separate too. So I've got, let's find, so as I said, this is the DAC brand new 20 facet drills, squares that is. My rounds are a little different because they're just in big bags because I've got a lot of them. I've got old DAC squares. I don't have too many of those, and I'm unlikely to get many more because I don't think I've got many kits in my stash that still have these, but here they are if I ever need them. And I've sometimes pulled these out to help when I've been shorted on drills in other companies' kits, because these are quite similar to a lot of other companies' drills. And then in here, I'm drowning in bags here. I have my 13 facet ones. You can see that's a big beastie bag. So in here, as I said, at the moment, I've got it broken down into 4. So DMC 0 to 399, 400 to 749, 750 to 999, and 1000 plus in special drills. So they're all roughly equal. At the moment, breaking it down to 4 is enough. If I find that these bags are getting too full, I may break it down further, but at the moment, that's all right. And then and you put those away. So breaking things down as much as you can might seem like more effort at the time, but you will really, really feel the benefit for it if you have to go and look for drills. Because before I realised that I needed to break them down into 4 within each category, it was sometimes quite a pain to find the bag that I wanted. So those are broken down in the kind of physical bags of drills. And then on my spreadsheet here, you can hopefully just about see, it's going to be tricky to show you much, I'll do my best, that I have tabs at the bottom here. I've got DAC rounds, old, new, DAC squares, old, DAC squares, 13 facet, 20 facet, Dreamer design squares, gemstones, round over, square over. Those are the only categories I've needed to set up so far. But each of these is a big long list of all of the drills that I have. So the thing that makes it really worthwhile to keep an Excel spreadsheet up to date, if you can, is that once I've updated this, when I've kitted painting down, I email this to myself. I store that email in just a folder in my inbox on Outlook on my phone. And if I want to check if I've got drills, I don't have to go rummage through the bag of drills. I just pick up my phone, because let's face it, my phone's always near me, go onto the spreadsheet and have a look and see if I've got it. So it's really, really easy. And then once I found that I do have that particular colour, I can just go and get the relevant bag, find the relevant bag within that, and then I'm just looking through a relatively small number of drill bags to find it. I also list on the spreadsheet the colour name, which is where the DMC colour code book that I showed you earlier comes into it. And that just makes it a little easier, so I've got in my mind what I'm looking for. I've seen that as a recent reference point, so I know what colour a certain DMC code looks like. Because I keep them separated out, I can also work my way down in order of priority. So if I'm looking for, I don't know, say I'm working on a painting that has Diamond Art Club's drills with the 13 facets. They're from that stage of when they were making drills. I'll look for in that section first, because that's obviously the closest match. If I don't have that colour in those kind of drills, then maybe the next best thing might be my 20 facet drills, which are actually an upgrade, but they're reasonably similar. The difference isn't obvious, so I might look at those next. Or I might go to the old style drills and maybe pick through those for the ones that have 13 facets, and so on and so on and so on. Like I once ran out on a Dreamer Designs painting, and I found that the old drills from Diamond Art Club worked perfectly well. The other thing that I am conscious of when I'm kitting down is that just occasionally you will find that the same DMC code looks quite different when it comes from different die lots. In particular with DAC round drills, I found that as I've been kitting these down recently, they upgraded them at some point last year, similar to how the squares went from 13 facets to 20 facets. These got shinier, and at the same time I noticed a lot of the die lots changed. So there are quite a few there where I need to have 2 bags on the go for different die lots for a colour. And at the moment those are all within one big bag. At some point I might try and separate them out, but it's a little harder to tell the difference between those. That might be overkill. And then on my spreadsheet I have that listed, so I've got a little 1 and 2 if I've got different bags of that colour. I think I could perfect that a bit better to make it easier, but as I say, I need to get my head around the best way to do that isn't just a ton of work, because I want this to be easy. I want it to be straightforward, and if I wanted to put a lot of effort into storing my spare drills, I probably would have a much fancier system. This works for me because it's easy. When it comes to kitting down, what I do is I take my spreadsheet, I go to the relevant tab, I fill in the colours that I've got from that kit, and then I use the filters at the top to filter by the DMC colour order. And then where I have any that now have 2 entries for that colour, I know that that means I've already got that bag in my spare drill, that colour in my spare drill storage. So I'll go through and find those bags from my big bags of drills. I'll add in the drills from my current project, and then I'm just left with a smaller number of colours that I didn't previously have in my spare drill stash, and I'll set up new bags and stickers for them, get their details filled out on the spreadsheet, and then the process continues next time. It feels a little bit of work doing the kind of the admin side of it when I'm kitting down. It's not the most fun, but it has been so helpful to me on so many occasions. I really can't express how nice it is to have all that data there when I want to know if I've got something or not. It's a very geeky way of doing this, let's face it, but then I am a little bit of a nerd. So yeah, I think that's about all that I have to go over. This is probably fairly quick as a video, but I just thought it might help one or two people who feel like it would benefit them to keep some of their spare drills, but don't really know how to go about doing it in a way that they can keep control of. Because anyone can put spare drills in little Ziploc bags and shove them in a box or a bag, but if you don't know what's in there, is it very helpful? It's better not having them maybe, but it's a lot of extra work to find them each time. And I don't like extra work. I like things to be easy. So that is me. Yeah, let me know what you thought of this. Let me know what system you're using. As I say, I'm sure lots of people will have much better systems for doing this than I will. But in particular, let me know if you think this could be helpful for you, or if there's anything that you can take from this video, like possibly keeping a log on a spreadsheet if that's not something you already do. Even if you have a beautiful arranged box of drills, I think it would be quite nice to not have to go through them every time to see if you've got a particular drill bag. But that's just me. All our brains work differently. But yeah, I hope that you found this helpful. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.